In just the last 24 hours, 5 news stories popped up that, on the surface, have absolutely nothing to do with each other. One's about a new weight loss drug, another's on insurance, there's a housing debate, a factory, you get the idea. But when you connect the dots, they all tell one massive story. A story about how the four-legged members of our families are literally reshaping our world.
So let me just ask you this. What if your pet's life, their healthcare, what they eat, even their legal rights started to look, well, a lot like yours? It sounds kind of wild, but it's a question that's getting less and less hypothetical every single day. Because really, this isn't some future trend, it's happening right now. This whole idea of humanizing our pets is sending these huge ripples out into the world, changing everything from our biggest health anxieties to the way we spend our money. Okay, let's get into it. So that first ripple, it starts somewhere really personal, our own medicine cabinet. The line between human health and pet health is blurring, and it's blurring fast. I'm sure you've heard about weight loss drugs like Ozempic, right? Well, they're part of this class of medications called GLP-1s. And now, that exact same technology is being tested by a pharma company in San Francisco on overweight cats. A huge debate from the human world is officially crossing over into the vet's office. And wow, has this kicked off a serious debate. You've got two very different camps. On one side, you have veterinarians saying, hey, this is a management problem. Basically, it's about what we feed them and making sure they get enough exercise. But then you have the pharma companies, and they're framing it as a metabolic problem, something that a new drug could potentially solve. And the stakes here are just incredibly high. Get this. Data from vets in Abu Dhabi shows that just cutting a dog's calorie intake by 25% can help them live, on average, 2 years longer. It's a pretty powerful argument for the basics, diet and exercise, even as all these new high-tech options are coming out.
All right, let's follow this to the second ripple, our bank accounts. Because that emotional bond we have with our pets, it has created a market that has just exploded.
Okay, so what about the number 28? It's not random, I promise.
That's how many states the pet insurer Adoro is now in. And their incredible growth is being fueled by Millennials and Gen Z who don't just see a pet, they see a family member who deserves the best healthcare possible. Pet insurance is going from this niche thing to something people see as totally essential.
And the numbers just keep getting bigger. How about this one? $27 billion.
That's what the frozen pet food market is expected to be worth by 2035. And we're not talking about your average bag of kibble here. No. This is all about raw or gently cooked meals with clear, transparent labels and human-grade ingredients. I mean, food that's literally good enough for us to eat. It's clear we want our pets to eat just as well as we do.
Okay, we've talked health, we've talked money, but the third ripple, this is where things start to get really complicated. When pets get treated like family, their rights start to bump up against our existing laws and how society works.
A perfect example is playing out in New York right now. The governor just allowed insurance companies to keep charging higher rates for renters with pit bulls. Now, the insurers say, look, this is just about risk. The data shows higher potential claims. But activists are firing back, saying this is straight-up breed discrimination that could force people to choose between their pet and a place to live. So it raises a huge question. Where do a pet's rights end and public policy begin?
And that leads us to our final ripple, which honestly might be the biggest one yet. As we keep elevating our pets' lives, we have to face their impact on the planet, their environmental paw print, if you will.
And look, the challenge here is huge. The pet food industry uses a ton of fish to get things like omega-3s, and that puts an incredible strain on our oceans. So our love for our pets has a very real, very measurable cost to the environment.
But this is where things get really cool and innovative. There's a Scottish company called Me Algae with a brilliant idea. They take the stuff left over from making whiskey, they use it to grow a special kind of microalgae packed with nutrients, and then they turn that into a sustainable source of omega-3s for pet food. Their goal? To replace the need for something like 6 billion fish every year. It's amazing.
And this is not just some idea on a whiteboard. They're actually building a new $3.8 million factory to make this happen. It's a huge step toward building what's called the blue economy, basically a way to use our ocean resources more sustainably. And it's all happening because we, the consumers, are demanding better, more responsible products for our pets.
So, from Ozempic for cats to sustainable pet food made from whiskey byproducts, our world is literally being reshaped by our relationship with our pets. As their lives, their health, their food,
their rights, start to look more and more like ours, it leaves us with one last big question to chew on. What does all of this truly say about us?